What is up, everybody? The last GOALAZO of the year is here. The final set of matches, Championship Sunday in the EPL, but not a whole lot of championship. Some big prize pools on Draftkings, king of the pitch if you're in that. Big 20,000 the first final day GPP, and some pretty heavy prize pools on some of the lower stakes stuff. I'll be doing most of my work there. I'm Alex Hooper. Welcome to FSI. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like this video, if you like the past GOALAZOs where we've actually been doing pretty well. I'm pretty happy with some of the results we've gotten from some of the picks on this show. Hopefully it'll hold up today. I'm Alex Hooper. Like I said, follow me on Twitter at Lex Hooper, or leave a comment here if you have any questions. But I'd love to talk DFS, just regular soccer with you over on Twitter. And even So Rare if you're into that sort of thing. Love that So Rare. Before we get, this is going to be a little bit different, this one, and it might be a little long. I'm trying to keep things a little shorter than normal, but let's take a look at what is actually up for grabs. So, like I said, not a whole lot at stake, but mostly in this range, the 3 to 9 range is where anything can really change. So City won the title already. United is locked into second. That's done and dusted. Chelsea, Liverpool, Leicester, all fighting for the final 2 spots in the Champions League. West Ham can't make it into that group. So these are the 3 teams that have the most to play for. Liverpool plays Crystal Palace. Leicester plays Spurs, who also have something to play for, but they've had things to play for, and that hasn't gone well for them. Chelsea plays Villa. I'm cheating here. I should know this. And then West Ham plays Southampton. Also, Everton and Arsenal. Everton plays City. Oops. And Arsenal plays Brighton. So let's see. I mean, Leicester they need to win, and Liverpool not to get a result against Palace, which, yikes. Man, Leicester might find a way to miss out on Champions League football again, despite having another fantastic season. Liverpool and Chelsea just need wins respectively. Leicester can pass both of them if either of them lose. West Ham just really they just need a point. They just need to take a point off of Southampton. I literally just looked at that. But that would stop Tottenham from being able to catch them. And then, of course, this Conference League, Europa League stop. Spurs have the advantage, but they have the toughest matchup as they're going to have to take down Leicester. I mean, I guess Everton has the toughest matchup against City, but it might not be the same City. Still probably a better team than Spurs or Leicester. And then Arsenal against Brighton on the outside looking in, but not too far away. Technically, Leeds could get there if they put up a big score, which they might do. And then everyone else would have to lose. So that's really the only range where people are playing for something. But there's some narrative with Leeds as well, and we'll talk plenty about them. So that's just what you're looking for from this standpoint. We'll come back and look at lineups here in a second, but here are the odds. Biggest odds on the slate, or the biggest favorites on the slate, obviously are Liverpool. They have the most to play for. They're the best team and the best matchup, I should say, on this slate. Plus 3.5 goal total. Things looking pretty good for them. City's still a decent favorite over Everton. I'm going to jump around. Actually, I'm just going to go from the top here. So Leicester, only barely favored over Spurs. Again, I don't get it. I didn't get why Spurs were so heavily favored against Villa, and you saw how that worked out. 3 total there. Arsenal pretty heavily favored over Brighton. 2 3/4. Wolves and United. United's going to play a rotated squad probably, although they need to get some sort of action before the Europa League final. The fact that Wolves are favored is funny, but that means that United is definitely playing a rotated side. The books generally know, so it looks like they know. Chelsea, a decent favorite over Villa. Again, they have something to play for. 2 3/4 total. Not so sure about that, but we'll see. Burnley barely favored over Sheffield, 2 3/4 total. That doesn't shout for 2 3/4 total to me. Fulham over Newcastle, whatever. Whatever. West Ham favored over Southampton. That makes sense. 3 total. Covered this one. And then, all right, so Leeds and West Brom. Leeds pretty heavily favored. They're staying up. West Brom's going down. Neither team really has much to play for. 3.5 total, matching the Liverpool match. But Leeds are going back to Ellen Road to play in front of their home fans in the Premier League for what? The first time in 20, 25 years? There's going to be some juice. There's going to be some juice at Ellen Road. It may not be full, but I mean, that's going to be an emotional game against a bad team where technically they need to win and win big. If it's me, I am stacking the hell out of Leeds. This is a different slate entirely. This is a very weird slate because how often are you playing, 10 games at once? When's the last time that happened? Not even last year on Championship Sunday. I don't think it happened. I don't remember, but I mean, it might have been 2 years. Like, you're not playing slates this big too often, so you need goals. And kind of the strategy here is you got to try and either mix and match and find those goals, or you got to stack and hit with a couple of one-offs that also score. I mean, like, there's going to be goals across 10 games. If you're playing, super floor here, I don't know that you get there. You have to find the guys who get the floor and score. Like if Kevin De Bruyne plays, sure. If Bruno plays, sure. Like Mason Mount, he'll be in some lineups. But there's some other guys on the slate who are going to be high owned who, in a GPP setting, like you have to hope they score a hat trick or they're not really going to help you. So we're looking there like Harry Kane and Mo Salah, who are both tied for the Golden Boot. So there's some narrative there. And then Salah against, the worst matchup, better matchup for him. But probably your highest owned player on the slate, if I had to guess, is Mo Salah, even as the second most expensive. Really quick, let's look at some lineups. These probably won't matter. Like, you're going to see some rotation. You're probably going to see a full side from Arsenal. Brighton, yeah, see, like, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, Percy Tau. This isn't a full side. And these guys are going to be cheap, cheap, cheap. If you have any inclination to play guys like that, go ahead. On this slate, go ahead. You're going to save a ton of money. You might as well. Villa, see, I don't know why they would play a full squad. They don't have anything to play for except pride. But that's a full squad. Jack Grealish back playing 90 could be good for them. Full side from Chelsea. They got something to play for. I don't know why Reece James would be in a back three, but maybe he has been. There's no lineups here, but who cares? So no lineups. All right, apparently we're not projecting lineups yet. It doesn't really matter because whatever you project, you're probably not going to get them. But this allows us to, again, we're going to do something different. We're going to hop over to the RotoWire cheat sheets. It has everything you could ever want. So here are your win odds. Again, just based on the actual odds. Leeds second behind, Liverpool, huge, huge favorite to win. And half chance to get that clean sheet. Most implied scored. That's what we're looking at right now. This is sorted by the implied goals scored. So Leeds, City, Chelsea, Hammers, Arsenal. This is basically like how you want to stack, really, if you want to just follow the odds, unless you have a lean somewhere else. Villa's at home, Sheffield's at home. Maybe they want to ball out in their final trip, and I don't see that happening. So peruse this on your own if you get a RotoWire subscription. Here are your anytime goal scorer odds. All right. So again, the key in GPPs to me is, obviously you want to get different. And people use these goal scoring odds. I don't know why. It's mostly determined by the public anyway, but you can leverage it. Like, find the second highest goal scoring odds guy on one team, like Amane, who's only down here. Like, he's still going to be popular. He's not the best example, but like Salah minus 220, like everyone's going to be on him. Just pivoting to Mane is going to get you slightly different. So Bamford is second. Like, if you look for the second leads player here, it's Rodrigo right here, Rafinha down here. Like, you're going to get some differential there. Plus, you get some savings. I still like Bamford, but we'll get to that in a second. These guys, sure, Wood, Lingard. I'm just looking at the guys who are projected to play, but you never really know. Again, use this if you have access to it. I mean, you can find playing like Danny Ings way down here, Ferran Torres, Jack Harrison. Like, this is where you find some guys that might really help you, and you find some salary savings. Free kick takers, you know who those guys are at this point. Take the guys on favored teams, especially teams with something to play for this weekend. You need upside. So, like the João Coutinhos of the world, unless you think they score, like, I don't see a reason to play them here. So here's the best thing. Sort by floor on the player stats, and you can unearth some gems. I mean, Jack Grealish right up here towards the top of the league. James Madison, 6'5". Here are just some of your highest floor players. So if you look at the ones like El Ghazi with high shot on goal per 90s, then you might find some of those guys there. Anyone over like 1-1. So we're talking these two guys up top, 170, 170, Foden tie, whatever. Like, this is a great tool to use. Crosses, who crosses the most? Ryan Fraser played. Like, I might actually care about that match. TAA, we'll get to him. Gross, Tellez, Robertson, like all the guys are used to crossing. So this is just a good way to discover like how to get different. Let's get to the actual slate. So again, this is tough. I'm sorry if I bounce all over the place. I would really just find a way to stack or just find a bunch of cheap goal scorers. I don't really know how I'm going to approach this slate other than one particular approach to it, and that is a stack, and I already tipped my hand on that. So let's go through the players and see if we can find anyone who really stands out as some value. It's going to take a while because this list goes all the way down. We're going to have to move through it quickly, and I've already spent some time here, so let's ride. Mo Salah, highest owned guy on the slate, especially if De Bruyne and Bruno don't start. I could see totally fading him in GPPs. I could see a complete fade of Mo Salah in GPPs, because what you are doing in GPPs is basically betting that your opponents will fail, and you kind of have to hope that Mo Salah does not score, which, considering that they have something to play for, considering they're playing a pretty bad team with nothing to play for, like, that's a big ask. So maybe mix your exposure, ride with Salah, and get different elsewhere. But that's the place to start. You got to start with Salah and consider what you want to do with him, because that's going to be what he does is going to shape the entire slate. Sadio Mane, again, very highly priced. Whatever. You can get different, but he's still going to be pretty decently owned. Like, a lot of lineups are going to run out Salah and Mane. Pepe, that high. I don't love it. I don't think I would get to him a whole lot. Rafinha at 8-9. All right, so we've already got the one that's super interesting to me. At that price, I don't think he gets highly owned. His goal scoring odds are third on this team, behind Bamford and Rodrigo. At 8,900, I don't think he gets owned at all. And I think he's a guy who could go out there and bomb 25 crosses, get a couple assists, and maybe a goal. I actually really love Rafinha here. I don't know if he's on sets, but I think he's going to be low owned enough and has a potential for a high enough ceiling that he could win you this thing. I truly, truly believe that. And there's a good chance he bombs. There's a good chance he doesn't even start. If he does, if you expect him to play 90, I think he's a fantastic play this weekend. Let's move on. Arsenal guys, I'm not interested, truly. They need it, and whatever, but Brighton's decent, even at the bottom of the table, towards the bottom of the table. These guys don't produce enough for me to justify these costs. I'm not going to Arsenal a lot. Harry Kane could score 3. He's done it before against Arsenal, or against Leicester, rather. I just don't love the matchup. Leicester with something to play for against the Spurs team. Like, I think Kane will be decently owned, but maybe not. Maybe find your way to him a little bit, but I don't know. Antonio, he's got to score 2 at this price, which is doable. Maybe get some exposure to him. Again, Arsenal, I don't love it. Nacho at 8.4, I don't mind at all. I could see getting there. Another high price guy who's probably going to have a little bit of ownership, but there's another guy in Leicester who you could probably get to for much cheaper. Townsend, nah. Aubameyang, 8-1. That one I can see. I could get to him on a goal-scoring slate. Mahrez, if he's in, whatever. If you like City, you think they're actually going to attack and do good things, sure. Bale at 8,000. I don't like Traore. McNeil is 76. Maybe gets you some 4, but I don't know. I don't know what United's lineup's going to look like. Saka at 7.5, whatever. Firmino at 7.5. He needs a goal and an assist, and he's been way more involved. I could see it. I could see it if you want to go there. Again, you can get real different that way, but I mean, Timo Werner's right here at 7.4. Jesus 7.4. Chris Wood at 7.4 against Sheffield, I think is a fine play. I'm going to plug him in right now. You're attacking Sheffield, and I think there's some upside for, a 3-4 goal game out of him. He's done it before. So at 7.4, I kind of like that. Bamford, another guy at 7.3. Like, even if the ownership's high, I believe in Leeds here, and I'm going to be getting plenty of Patrick Bamford. Sterling, whatever. Greenwood, whatever. El Ghazi, I don't love his matchup. If Mitrovic starts at 7.1, fine. Martinelli, Lookman. Ings at 6.9, I don't love here. Here's Rodrigo at 6.7. Plug him in. I like these Leeds guys, like I said, this weekend. Aguero, if he starts at 6.6, I've been saying it for a while, like they want to send him off correctly. It looks like he's going to Barca to play with Messi. I can see it. Go for it. Cavani's hot. If he plays, ride with it. Lucas at 6.5, whatever. Decent punt. I'm not touching Palace. Well, maybe Benteke. You're getting a lot of dogs down here. Benteke at 6.1. Yeah, I probably can't make that work. Dogs. Caballero, if he's on sets, maybe. Has a little bit of a chance for upside, and that's some savings. Same for St. Maximin. He came off hurt last time. City guys are fine. All right, so 5.8 for Jamie Vardy against Spurs. Like, he's got penalties. Spurs might quit 40 minutes into the match. So I'm probably going to come back to him and add him. At 5.8, like he might be insanely owned, but at that price, like, I don't see any reason not to pay for him. Otherwise, like, if you believe in any of these guys, play them. Especially if you're playing multiple lineups. Like, if there are any of these guys, if Abraham starts at 4.6, sure. I don't know why you would in a match that they need, but stuff like that. Almiron is still incredibly underpriced. If Bergwijn starts again at 3.9 and you need the savings, go for it. But then you just get the kids. All the kids are down here. I think West Brom has a couple of guys who might start that are in this range. Like a Carlin Grant, something like that. That's going to be an open match. Like, even if you're stacking leads, I think you can realistically get to some West Brom. Like, maybe running it back with Pereira. If you're cheap enough, I think that makes sense. But Pereira's got to score. That's the thing about this. Like, pretty much everyone's got to score. If you're going to win a GPP, like, you got to hit pretty strongly over the course of 10 games. So yeah, I'm going to go back up to Vardy because this price for him is kind of insane. Lock him in. All right, let's run through the midfielders really quick. De Bruyne, if he starts, does he go 90? Do City really care? I don't know. If Bruno starts at 9.4, again, you probably only get 60 out of him, but he could get there. I just don't know that he's the kind of guy that I would want to ride with on this slate. I want guys who are going to go 90, but I mean, 30 more minutes doesn't mean you're going to score 2-3 more goals. Foden priced up against Everton. Prayer at 8.7, like if you are going to run that back, that's tough. Covered a lot of these guys. Jesse Lingard at 8.2, sure. I could see it. If West Ham really push, I mean, they only need a point, so I'm not expecting a 4-0 out of West Ham over Southampton. So you kind of need the teams that are going to pop off. Harvey Barnes is out. James Ward-Prowse seems to get there. Oh boy, at 7.7, Mason Mount might be worth all of the ownership against Villa. They need to win. Yeah, Mason Mount's probably going to factor into a lot of my lineups. Like, again, that's a floor play with upside. I could see it. Yeah, I could see it. And again, you got Werner right here. Jack Harrison at 7.4. If you're stacking leads, that's a guy you definitely want in your mix over the course of 20 lineups or whatever you're playing. Yuri Tielemans, depends on the lineups, but he's got to score a couple. Jack Willock's hot against Fulham at 6.9 if you want to roll with that. That's not a horrible shout. Madison at 6.5. Again, like Leicester's priced a little low against. Like I think you can actually play him at this price. He's not going 90 a ton, but I think he's going to want to go 90. I think he's going to want to be in the best shape for Euros. I don't know if he even made the squad. Now that I think about it. But I think he wants to go 90 here. I think he wants to do the most that he can. So at 6.5, he might be our second guy in here at the midfield. Ferran Torres, sure. I'm just looking at midfield only guys at this point. Stuart Dallas, 6.2. There's your sets for leads. Odegaard at 6.2 isn't horrible either. Kai Havertz at 6. If he starts, not bad at all. João Coutinho, no thanks. Ziyech at 5.8. Hasn't produced much, but that's a nice price for him. Pogba at 5.6 if he plays. Smith Rowe 5.5 again. A guy who's involved for Arsenal. Arsenal need it. Matt Ritchie's a floor play. Souček, you can always play the Jorginho penalty, but you're only getting one out of him, so you better get some goals elsewhere. And that's if he gets the penalty. And he puts it away, but it's pretty good. I missed Tella earlier. That price is still probably a little high. Again, like we're down in the if you believe in any of these guys range. Callum Robinson at 4.4 in that match makes a lot of sense. Again, Almiron. Then yeah, these are mostly, sorry, I twitched. These are mostly floor plays. But if you believe in any of them, if any of them pop on the RotoWire cheat sheet, go for it. But yeah, I'm going to go back up. I am going to grab. Where is he? James Madison at 6.5. I think that's a fine value. All right. Defender. So Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to be very, very highly owned. At 7.8, that's going to nerf your lineup. And like he's got to go off. He needs 20 points or so, unless you get goals unless you get goals out of every other spot. And maybe even your other defender and a clean sheet. Like I don't see a lot of ways that you get to the optimal lineup with him in it. Like optimally, you have him in your cash lineup, in a GPP lineup, unless he scores goals. I don't know. See, but he gets an assist here with 16 crosses against West Brom. And he gets 26. Like that's how he gets in there. He's putting up these huge numbers again. So maybe I'm an idiot, but he's got to get there. He's absolutely got to get there. Or else 7-8 out of a defender spot. Like, do I have to move this just to click out? Thanks. Let's toss him in here. Like, all of a sudden you don't have much. In this lineup, all of a sudden you don't have a whole lot. I don't hate this lineup, to be honest, but this isn't really what you want. So let's toss him in. Let's assume you're playing him. From a defender standpoint, like, you need those types of outputs or you need goals. So I don't know that you're paying up twice a defender here, especially if you're running a lineup like this. Again, this is not a lineup I would suggest. This is just a lineup of guys that you want to play in better lineups. So like Chilwell could score and get there. Luke Shaw's scored before. I don't think he'll even start. Like, these guys, I don't see scoring goals. Lonzo, if he starts, is a decent pay up option there. Otherwise, like, who's going to get you the output that you need? Tell us at 5 if he starts, has a decent enough floor that he might get you there. REA technically could get an assist, but again, that matchup's not great. Like, I'm not coming to these guys for GPP. Kurt Zuma, 3.8, yikes. Here's my guy. John Stone's at 3.5. Fantastic. All right, so you can't even run this lineup. That's fine. Because that's not what I was doing here. I'm not trying to give out lineups. If you take my GOALAZO lineups and you run them in GPPs, you're daring. Dare say stupid. But you're daring. Okay, so this is not a slate to pay up a keeper, in my mind. Like, the variance is too wild, and I actually think cheaper keepers are better on this slate anyway. Like, I don't see anyway. Who up here is going to get you 20 points? Like, unless Allison scores again, like, he might get 13 with a win. Same with Ederson. Like, maybe Leeds sees a lot of shots, but I don't know why you would want to go there. I don't see any way to get the amount of points you need. You need a keeper who's going to see a lot of shots, stop a lot of shots. That could be Gaeta. If you wind up with a lineup that looks something like this and you do fade Liverpool quite a bit, I think Gaeta's perfect. That means he stopped a lot of shots. And if he gives up 1, still makes 7 saves, you're very happy with what you got out of your 3,600 keeper. If you think City shoots a lot, go to the Everton guys. I mean, if you think Leeds is as high energy as I seem to think, go to Sam Johnstone, go to the West Brom guys. That's fine. Emi Martinez has been fantastic all year. Chelsea doesn't shoot a ton, but if that's where you get, that's where you get. But ultimately, I think you're paying down. So, can't run this lineup, but that's okay. Again, like, you got to get goals here. It's going to be weird. It's going to be different, but you got to get goals. And some of those cheaper guys work, and you got to take a stance on Liverpool. You got to take a stance on how much Salah you want, where you can actually get with Salah in your lineup. Like, out of 20 lineups, I think I could get like 6 where I have Salah and get different elsewhere to a point that I think I can win. Otherwise, I'm hoping Salah maybe scores 1, and that's it. But you have to take a stance. I would not run 100% Salah out there. But that's just me. You don't have to. You can play that chalk and you can roll with it. But I'm going to go, I'm going to ride with Leeds. I think it's going to get weird over there. And then I think Leicester pushes. It's their last game of the season. They got a lot to play for. And these guys who play in this stadium over my head, they don't. So there are some cheap prices there that make a lot of sense on this slate, I think. So if you have any questions, I'm recording this Friday morning. If you have questions in the next 48 hours, leave them below. I'll try to get to them. If not, someone from the FSI staff will. Or hit me up on Twitter at LexHuber. Send me a tweet and we can talk shop. I always got time for you. But until then, and I mean, catch Tilt City probably on Sunday, but we'll see you when we see you. It's going to be a couple of months until we get Premier League soccer again. We might do this for some Euro action, but we'll see. We'll see you down the line. Thanks for tuning in. To everyone who's been tuning in over these last couple of weeks as we've been doing this, thank you. And we'll talk to you next time.